I want to run a business with my husband, and the husband is standing behind him going, I don't want to do that. Stay at home with my wife and kids all day. That sounds awful. That's awful. This thing's a scam, and you should get out now. So I'm going to let you off the hook. One of the great things about this business is Paul hit on so many important topics about the validity of a husband. And there's some women on here. I'm just even looking, at some of the people just in this first page. And so you see Billy Joe Ham out in Orlando, who in the last year, her business has done over $300,000 in business, like a massively huge organization. I see John Cortez and his wife Maria, who I met in Cancun for the first time. She hadn't even been in business for a year and did over 200,000. Nick Beater, I saw on here, his wife's had 3.5 years and $6 million in revenue. Just massive businesses that they've done virtually by themselves from their phone, following a system, being good students, and stepping outside their comfort zone and running massive organizations. So from a husband's perspective, the best way that I can kind of say this is you getting involved at any amount is going to be going from one Starbucks location to 2 Starbucks locations. You now have 2 different avenues to increase your business. And it can be just that simple as getting a name for your wife, getting a name of somebody. You go get your hair cut. And I go to Great Clips. It's super fancy here in Indiana. It's like $11. And I go to the same lady. What have you been up to? I'm like, well, I had a really busy weekend. My wife started a business. And I pause. And of course she goes, what type of business? So it's that dumb husband card where I go, I don't know a whole lot about it. It's anti-aging. Have you ever heard of Nerium? No. The products really work. Here, look at this picture. Oh my gosh, I know. I can have, it's kind of weird. Like I'm definitely very married. So I'm always like, I will have my wife call you when I'm talking to a woman, like give me your number and I'll have my wife reach out to you, my wife call you. But that's my whole goal is I would just be a gatherer, and I would let I know I had a couple too many ers on that word, but my wife is the hunter and I was just gathering. Now, my background is sales, teaching, training, management. So standing up in front of a room of people was comfortable. Standing up at a market party was comfortable. Running a regional was comfortable. If this was Mary Kay, I probably would not be as involved in the business in front as I am in Nerium, because I wouldn't use any of those products. And for those, that's makeup, if you guys don't know. These products I use. I know they work. And I spent a lot of the first time looking at my wife saying, they did $100 million. They did $200 million. They did $400 million. This thing is going to be absolutely massive. And I was that cheerleader, and I've seen it. People ask her a question, and then they ask me the same question, and I'm a smart husband. I give the same answer, and they go, oh, Patrick, that makes a lot of sense. And Shannon's like, I just said the same thing. I was like, yeah, just guys don't listen to women all the time, right? It's just in our DNA. So that validity that you give to your spouse is really important. It is. A lot of people, if anybody here follows soccer, if you've seen LA Galaxy, where David Beckham played, they're advertising, the big sponsor is Herbalife. If you've watch NCAA football, you have Advocare. Drew Brees is an Advocare rep. You start to see network marketing companies everywhere. They're on, Amway has its own arena. All these companies are becoming more and more mainstream, and Nerium, is about to, if not already hit $2 billion in sales. They're on that exact same trajectory. So for the last 3 or 4 years, we may have been thinking, is this thing going to be around? And now that's not a question. It's how big is it going to be in 10 years? Now, the great thing is we're on this plateau, and we're about to hit an inflection point here in the next 30 days as we go into our national conference. We're launching 2 new products. We're launching a new incentive trip, a new promotion, compensation enhancements, other stuff I can't talk about. but it's going to be the largest amount of growth. So getting involved in any form or fashion now is going to be beneficial. So my only kind of two things. One, to let you off the hook that you being like your wife or you being involved in your wife's business probably would be counterproductive to the business and to your marriage, okay? So I'm going to let you off the hook. Listen to your wife, and we don't expect you to do fast start game plans or do make lists or do mark. We don't expect any of that stuff. Step one is just supporting and finding out more about the business to be able to kind of talk about it. And then two is using the products because your wife needs before and after pictures of men. So using the products for 30 days and having those on your phone and just gather people. And the last thing is just listen with your third ear. You'll realize very quickly that people complain about money all the time. I guarantee you every day of your life, if you listen for it, somebody will complain about money. The cost of gymnastics, the cost of dance, the cost of gas, the cost of anything. And I listen for that third ear for somebody to be like, I wish John could play travel soccer all year long. It's just too expensive. And then I register that. I'm like, yeah, we were the same way. And because of my wife's business, we've been able to take care of that bill. I file that, and then I go home and I tell my wife, hey, I was talking to so-and-so and they said this, and then I just kind of put the two puzzle pieces together. So being a good listener while you're out there, just supporting them. Paul hit on all the things about Facebook, and some people are like, I don't even know what Facebook is. Awesome. My biggest thing for tonight is I'm not doing this intentionally for brownie points, but just listen to your wife. They're running massive businesses. They've made a commitment and they're doing an incredible job. So find a way to, all the husbands are like, this guy's a scam. I'm not listening to this guy. So listen to them, but then find a way to add that second location to the business, because your network of people is as big, if not bigger, than your wife's. And this is not to come, some people, if you've had a career for the last 30 years and your wife has been at home, you probably have a larger network of people to tap into. So your wife is running a business, so we want to be able to attract as many people to that business. And for those people that are watching that have no experience in sales, and maybe you're an engineer, maybe you're a teacher, maybe you're a nurse or a doctor, a lawyer, and you're like, I don't want to be anywhere near sales. That's awesome. You don't have to be. It's just a matter of being supportive with your wife and what she's doing, or your spouse, whichever way this works, in what they're doing, and just gathering those names. And don't worry about whether or not you think somebody would want to buy the product. And don't worry about whether or not you think somebody would want to be a part of the business. Just funnel those names to your spouse. And if you say, hey, Patrick, I'm in, I can do that, I really, really want to help, then Paul or I will get on a one-on-one conversation with you and your spouse, and we'll look at your specific business about how to get you even more involved and take those multiple steps. But the first step is literally just that public support of your spouse and just helping them, because you'll never know how much support, what it means. And you'll never know, unless you've been in sales, for how hard it is what they're doing, and the lack of confidence that people have when they first start out, and the no's that they take in the beginning. And they fought through that. They're still here. They fought through those negatives. They fought through that self-doubt, and they're still here running a successful business. And the last thing is, I think it's really important to sit down and talk about do a 5-year vision statement, which sounds silly, but sit down uninterrupted for 30 minutes and pick a date, pick your birthday 5 years from now, and write down a paragraph of what your life is like 5 years from now. we wake up in the morning and we're retired and we're in, Fort Myers, Florida, or wherever it is. And you'll start to realize that maybe your goals and your spouse's goals aren't the same. Or maybe you realize that what your spouse wants, oh my gosh, I never knew you wanted that. And then you can figure that into the business of how to use the business as a vehicle, whether it's for time freedom or financial freedom or a little bit of both. But I can't stress enough, from watching my wife build a business and be supportive and watch Nerium go from 100 to 200 to 400 to $500 million a year, to hit 1.5 billion, to grow by 16,600% in its first 36 months in business, are things that have never been done in this industry. And this industry is a $200 billion worldwide industry. And a lot of companies don't make it past their first year, let alone hit $100 million. So the products that we have never been better. The executive staff, the compensation plan, and the women on this call and on this team and in this industry, in this company, are poised for massive, massive growth. So we can't thank you enough just for taking your time out of your night to plug in and show that support. I know they really, really appreciate it. And if you have specific questions, you can send myself a message. It's Patrick Murphy. You can send Paul Wyatt a message, and we are happy. Yes, it's recorded, Nicole. We are happy to do a one-on-one call with you to specifically get any of your questions answered. This is what I do full time, so I'm more than happy to do anything I can to answer any questions going forward.
Awesome. Well, on that note, same thing as Patrick said. If anybody ever wants to chat, messenger, message, text, call, whatever we can do to help. But I appreciate everyone taking the time to get on the call. That's awesome. That's being supportive in that just alone. So we appreciate it, and we hope to talk to some of you guys soon. Everyone have a fantastic evening. Thanks, Patrick. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.